Landmines and jellyfish. Welcome back to Knives, I guess, and I'm all hopped up on pixie sticks. If you give me like 4 bottle rockets and a pair of Crocs, I can fight Superman. But do me a favor and hit that like button. And we did a live stream going in on the orange dropout, trying to replicate Outdoors 55's tests. If you haven't seen that video, check it out. That was an interesting experience. But once that was done, we also got our cardboard slayer session in on the Green Goblin $5 Ozark Trail from Walmart. Now, let's take a look at what we're holding because it'll bother you if I don't, and you know I love you. And first things first, and most importantly, the pocket clip is tip up, which is the Lord's carry. We have got these plastic scales that feel and sound like they might be FRN, but there's no telling. Got a flipper tab, so let's flick the bean. And we got like 3.25 inches, I think, of steel? You know, it's Ozark Trail. They won't identify it. They accidentally identified steel on one of their holiday sets this year as 3CR13 on their website. We're going with 3CR13. So a quick recap, if you didn't see what happened after I carried it for a week, it did okay. It functioned as a knife. Everything is there. However, the lock on this thing sucks, and that was a deal breaker for me. Your access to the lock kind of sucks. The skin on your fingy, you'll get caught right here, and you can't push the lock all the way over to disengage unless you start all the way over on this side with it. And when you do move the lock, you don't have really much room to get your thumb out of the way. And it's not comfortable. I didn't enjoy it. That was a deal breaker for me. If the lock was in good shape and the lock was accessible, I would have had a much better opinion. Now that that's out of the way, you know, we went in and I went in expecting 3CR13 performance. That's exactly what I got. I got exactly 3CR13 performance. So we only did the factory edge. We've already done the 3CR on the Storm Pooper, and we know what 3CR13 does with the 18-degree edge mirrored out. You can add about an extra hour, give or take, of time spent cutting. And, of course, you know, time is my measurement for it because I can't begin to count, like, you know, I can't count each individual cut, not when I'm doing that many. We counted them one time at about 900 over the course of 30 minutes, and I mean, that's just pushing a cut about every second or two. And, so we went at it for an hour. We started off at 221 on the electronic edge tester, and we started at 221, which is a pretty decent edge, and after an hour of cutting, the worst spot hit 570. The cardboard cuts were still clean, and the paper cut was still happening, that little push cut on the paper, and, you know, that's kind of, when you hit 570, the edge is just hanging on for dear life. It is getting so close to being completely thrashed. So we kept going, and in 20 minutes it finished going off the cliff, and we hit a 644. Once you get into the 630s, 640s, 650s, the edge is totally devastated. You're going to have to sharpen it. It is very, very worn, and even on the chart right here that they supply, like up over 500, moderately rolled edge. 600, like it is considered very, very, very worn. Now, you get up into 900, severely rolled edge. We haven't hit a 900 yet. You know, we'll stop when the cardboard cuts start looking like this. You know, this is the result I'm going for. And that's part of why these tests will take so long. A lot of guys that are doing this, they're just looking for that first snag on the paper, and they can feel the first little snag that's showing somewhere. We go for total edge devastation. We want to see how long it takes to totally wreck the edge. You know, and part of that, a little peek under the skirt here, but part of that is, you know, I want to see how long it takes for total failure. And we're also looking at stuff, you know, this is budget stuff for guys that are on a tight budget and guys that are just starting to buy knives that may not want to sharpen right away, or they haven't learned how to sharpen yet, or they're like I used to be. I'd carry a knife until the edge was totally gone, and then I'd throw it in a box and I might lose it and replace it. Or, you know, for a while there when I was working outdoors, I was sharpening with a file and then finishing the edge off on just dragging it through a piece of wood. So that's part of why we're looking at it, is for guys that, you know, don't sharpen their own stuff yet, things like that. Like, you know, kind of trying to make something for everybody here. A little peek under the skirt for you. But, you know, I enjoy doing this. I really enjoy doing this to them. Like, those live streams can drag on. You know, by the time that orange dropout was done, the amount of pain I was in, I wasn't enjoying it right that second. But, you know, that is where something interesting and the one really positive thing I can say about this comes into play. All right, we finished doing the cutting on the orange one, and I was in an incredible amount of pain. All right, so the ergos on that one held up for 8 hours of dicing up single wall cardboard just fine. However, an hour of how hard I had to push to get through that double wall stuff, I was in intense pain. This, however, did not add more pain to it. I will say that. The ergonomics were such that it did not make it hurt any worse than it already did. I was able to keep going for an hour and 20 minutes on top of what we did to the orange one, and I was as okay when I started with this knife as when I finished. So the ergos held up pretty well for that particular test. Cannot find fault there. So, just the whole experience is interesting. And again, I've seen guys that, some videos, not a ton, but some, if you can't find this one, get this one. If you can't find this one, get this one. That's a big no from me, dog. And it's like the interesting responses to all this. This is kind of a side tangent, but it's kind of talking about something that I've found kind of interesting. A lot of the strong reactions to this thing is either it's the worst knife on the planet and I wouldn't be caught dead with it, or it's the best knife on the planet. It's been a very interesting mixed bag of reactions. And I mean, for me personally, for $5, it swings way above its weight class. The only thing that holds it back is really the steel. If this would have been a D2 knife, I mean, honestly, it would have been $30. I would consider $30 a fair price for it. Even with the partial liners, but other knives with partial liners like this have done just fine. You'd have to really go crazy on it or intentionally try to break it to really have it break on you. I haven't seen anybody accidentally snapping these in half doing normal work with them. I haven't. And of course, this guy right here, the reactions have been just as interesting. You got guys that are, 100% on board with, this thing is the best thing on the planet and they're all in on it. Got guys that say it's the worst thing on the planet. It's like, no, for $10, it's an exceptional value. For a $10 beater, it's an exceptional value. Great way to get your friends into knives that aren't into them yet. Great direction to point. Hey, I'm just trying to get a knife on the cheap and I'm not sure what to get that's going to be decent. This thing is really decent. Now I will say there are QC issues and the heat treatment issues that we've seen, especially between my video and Outdoors 55's videos, which I highly recommend. Words are hard and I blame you for that. I highly recommend checking those out. Watch Outdoors 55's before you watch mine, just to see the experience he had with his and what I got out of trying to replicate that testing as closely as possible to see, where we might have been able to figure out what went wrong there. And I think it's a heat treatment issue. It's QC on the heat treatment. But, I've had a few of them do quite well so far. And I didn't notice, but the scales on this one actually match up better than the scales on some other ones. Like you got this right here, and then you flip it over, and it's a lot brighter, which is one of those interesting things. I've seen guys buy 2 of these and then scale swap them just to get the colors to match. I don't care that much for a $10 beater, but, that's all besides the besides. We're focused on this thing right now. And again, if it was me and I was looking at this particular video to make a decision about buying it because it's a $5 knife, nah, that's a pass for me. That's a pass. If you don't mind tip down carry, there's way better ones there on the shelf. And again, like the tip up, tip down debate is it's interesting to watch it play out in real time. Most of the guys that I know and that I've spoken with prefer tip up for a lot of reasons. I prefer tip up, and I will say right now, one reason I don't like tip down, and I keep forgetting it when it comes up, every tip down knife we have done Cardboard Slayer with, that pocket clips had to be removed immediately. All right, you're doing your cuts, and that pocket clip starts getting really uncomfortable really fast. That pocket clip for me, when I'm holding on tight and pushing through something, it causes a bunch of discomfort that I don't want. All right, so that's one of many reasons. Like, I don't like that. I don't like having to pull it out and then flip it over in my hand to open it either. That's just me. That's personal preference, but that's why I'm such a big proponent of tip-up carry, in case you were wondering. So, yeah, I can't think of a lot else to add with this thing. It performed like 3CR. It did exactly what it was supposed to do. It was so unremarkable, I almost forgot to do this. I almost forgot to do the Cardboard Slayer Aftermath video for you guys. Just completely unremarkable. So, yeah. That is what happened with Cardboard Slayer on this, and I love sharing what happened with Cardboard Slayer. So, all that being said, thanks for looking at my crap. Subscribers, you guys are awesome. Y'all keep coming in. I appreciate you so much. We have an overdue 3K subscriber giveaway, and I'll give you a sneak peek. It's nothing crazy, but giving a couple of these away and a couple of these away. These have been kind of hard to find for some people, and it's what I can afford to do right now, so we are giving some of them away. I should have more of these coming in, and fun fact, I ordered 2 of those from Walmart's website, and I clicked order, and then I was like, wait a second, if I would have ordered 4, I would have gotten free shipping, so 4 for $40 or 2 for $30. So I went to cancel the first order and order 4 of them so I could give some away. Walmart refused to cancel that first order. Like I requested a cancellation like 2 minutes later. Walmart refused to cancel it. So I have 6 of them showing up, and I'm probably going to take 2 of them back. Or try. Or I'll forget. I don't know. Pick one. Choose your own adventure. But that's a little peek under the skirts about, what's coming up here. So, yeah. Again, subscribers, thank you. Y'all have done so much for me. I appreciate you so much. Comments, I love some feedback. Let's talk about this thing. Share your experience with it. Do you like it? Do you don't like it? Or anything else you want to talk about? And all that being said, y'all have a nice day.